as a private number. To accept this free call, press
Christian Martin.
an incarcerated individual
You can
at
hear?
Eastern Kentucky Correctional Complex, the Kentucky Correctional Institute. This call is not private. It will be recorded and may be monitored. If you believe this should be a private call, please hang up and follow facility instructions to register this number as a private number. To accept this free call, press. You may start the conversation now.
Hi, Kit.
Hey, Mr. Crystal McKenzie. What you doing?
It's Crystal McKenzie, and I'm sitting here with your ex-wife. You know what her name is? Stacey Stone.
Yeah. The real ex.
The real ex, the one and only ex, right? Hey, Kit, have you had a chance to read the appeal from the Supreme Court that actually affirmed your conviction just recently? Did you have a chance to sit down and read that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was interesting because it was a split decision thing, and I read it a couple times, went through it. It's a little lawyer, talk in there and everything. But yeah, I understand it pretty well now.
Yeah, what do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, obviously, I'm going with a dissenting opinion, but I mean, looking at it, just trying to look at it objectively, I think their arguments are really good. I mean, basically what they've done now is they've set, a really bad standard for the hearsay in the Fifth Amendment in Kentucky. And, every time a Supreme Court makes a decision, and kind of tweaks the Constitution to uphold the conviction, they kind of dirty the waters, you know what I mean? And that just slowly builds over time. So now we've got a really bad precedent set. As the dissenting judges said themselves,
Yeah.
And they also mentioned that there was underwhelming evidence in the case. The hearsay was obviously what the AG used to get the conviction of this.
I want to reemphasize what he said was an underwhelming amount of evidence, not overwhelming, an under amount of evidence.
Oh, I know.
I want to make sure our listeners hear
Great
that.
big fat nothing burger.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I think their closing argument was basically try to make it as the images as violent and as graphic as she could. And I wanted to interrupt her and say once upon a time because it was just all just made up. In the Army we say this is no crap, and that's not the exact word we use, but when you're making up a story, you say this is no crap. Yeah. And you go on to make a fairy tale. So she basically made a fairy tale to the jury, and basically lied to them. And she kept saying, military precision, and this is a dangerous man, blah blah blah, and all these violent images about a crime that didn't line up with the evidence at all. But apparently that's what they went with it.
What I said on court TV, and in relating to what he just said, is that what happened in that trial absolutely did not support the closing statements at all. It was very misleading, and I think we will be probably addressing that later on. Yeah, very misleading.
Were you aware? I mean, was there any kind of Kit? I'm just wondering. Did you have any word that the jury was going to be sequestered or anything like that?
No, I was just finding stuff out at trial that I should have known all along, like the stuff about Laura, even that she had seen me, in the den, on the TV or watching TV or on the laptop at 2 a.m. That was a critical time. I didn't even hear about that until a year after the trial.
Oh, wow.
That was a huge thing. Stuff like that, basic information. I didn't know any of these hearsay witnesses were going to testify. That the discovery that I was given was just a small little box. It was all a lot of duplicate information, and it didn't have the actual interview stuff from it. Detective Leonard Smith, he goes by Scott Smith, I guess. When he showed up, he had a whole dolly 5 feet high of boxes of the discovery. Obviously, none of it really related to the case because, like I said, there was nothing that really tied me to anything. The evidence showed that. But
no, that's really something, man. That binder he had was a little bit ridiculous, I got to say. It was just looking for your birthday took a half hour, Sorry. But yeah. They could almost put my Social Security number out there. They gave everything else, my full name, birthday, and the judge almost allowed them to get my Social Security number out there, which was kind of crazy. But, hey, I got a little, I was watching last night. I watch a little bit of this court TV, and I just go back to the on demand and watch your trial, and I'll just pick I'll just choose one of the people testifying and just watch that entire testimony. And I got to say, there was a lot of
trickery going on, especially with Scott Smith, and I love what Olivia Adams did. Didn't you say she stayed up all night to get ready for that testimony?
Yeah, I told her from the beginning, that they were lying about the cellular data, and the information I got in the discovery was enough that I could tell looking at it that, just a common man, that I could tell that it wasn't accurate. And then, when they started showing the clips, the edited clips that they gave of my security footage, I told them, I was like, this isn't right. Like, I wasn't out of the house for more than a minute here or a minute there to feed the animals and stuff like that. And they were making it look like I was out of the house for hours at a time. And, so sure enough, she stayed up and she looked at all the different angles, because there was 4 different cameras, and she looked at it, and then she put it all together and just destroyed him on the stand.
Oh, she really did. One of my favorite moments in the trial, wasn't it yours, Stacey? One of my absolute favorite moments.
Oh, yes. I mean, she backed him in a corner. And here's the thing. He said on the stand, if I recall correctly, he said that, well, it was new technology so that they could know that the cell phones didn't go in the same direction. Well, I'm just going to call him out on that and say that's just not true, because I had a copy of that report. And for heaven's sake, I'm a real estate agent. If I can figure out they went in opposite directions, I would think that a detective should be able to.
Go ahead, say it. Go ahead, say it. Bless his heart. Say it. She always ends it with bless his heart. I'm telling you, though, Kit. The other thing that struck me was there was a point where Judge Atkins actually got some testimony in. Do you remember when Major James Garrett was on the stand and everybody was done, both the defense and the prosecution, they were done questioning him, and then the judge wanted to add something. Do you remember that? It was the fact that you were kicked out of the military from the court-martial crap.
Yeah, I don't remember it actually, but Garrett's the one that set that whole thing up. It was just an Article 15, which is a very minor thing. I had a 30 years absolutely clean record, and even have a speeding ticket, had outstanding OERs, and he had set up that whole thing with the Article 15. That was all retaliation for my congressional request to Senator Rand Paul about what, the process that I had been going through for 18 months with the military, based off all of Jones' lies. And they knew she was a bigamist and everything, I'm telling them, but they were using her to retaliate against me for my congressional request. And when I turned down the Article 15 and the court-martial says your option, then he went and got her out of jail, promised her like $250,000 in victims funds, and that they would take care of her bigamy charges and everything else to get her to basically make up all new allegations. So it went from a minor Article 15 for stealing a laptop, which they knew I hadn't done because they had polygraphed me for 3 hours. They knew I hadn't done anything. They went and they used her to make up all these abuse charges and everything else, and try to get me, nail me to like 58 years sentence or something like that. So that's how dirty they are.
Yeah, that's just so sad because, by the way, what are you, I know you've earned some medals and I would love to talk to you about this real quick. I'm just going to take a little exit ramp and talk about the heroic side of Kit Martin for a second. I know that the bronze medal is something that, or the Bronze Star is something that is like, I think the 4th highest military honor. You won 3 of those.
Well, the real heroes are the guys that didn't come back, the guys that gave everything. And the other guys that lost limbs and are dealing with injuries to this day. I was lucky. You can do everything right and be killed, or you can do everything wrong and just with dumb luck survive, So, but I did a year on the ground in Baghdad in 06, 07 with the kind of high point of the insurgency, worked for the Iraqi National Police kind of as a combat advisor. We did the daily patrols, sometimes 2 or 3 patrols a day with them on the streets.
Wow.
Raids and things like that, checkpoints, and that was pretty hairy. It was always the threat was always changing. Snipers, IEDs, EMPs, grenades. There was a constant, threat. We'd come up with a counter to the threat, to come up with a new threat. It was pretty crazy there. A lot of IEDs. I saw a lot of good guys get killed.
Yeah.
A lot of young kids get killed. And then my last other 2 tours, I was the first tour, or the next tour, I got promoted to major, so I was flying a I was back with my original battalion, so I was flying Apaches. Yeah. And we were the Corps Reserve, so I was designated as scalable strike packets coming in for the MNCI. So basically, whenever there was an uprising or something like that, they would send me first, and then they would build a task force around me, and I would conduct operations.
Oh my God! Yeah,
wow.
Right, he is a badass. Yeah.
Doing my job.
Yeah, just doing my job, he says, very humbly.
Well, to speak to that, and I know he's too humble for me to say this, but I'm going to say it. Just like you called him the hero, and he said, I wasn't the real hero. It was those that didn't come back or lost their limbs. I mean, he's always given credit where credit's due. And if you don't mind, are you still going on with more awards, or do you?
No, I was just wondering, I was wondering about the Bronze Stars. I've read enough about them, and Veterans Day just went by, and we've been celebrating you and everything that you did to earn these things. I know you've won an air medal, or earned rather an air medal, and also the Combat Action Badge, which is just badassery is what it is. But go ahead, I'm listening to you, Stacey. Go ahead.
Well, I have a question back to something you said, because I may have heard you incorrectly, because I've had that question. When Joan was arrested or convicted of a felony for bigamy, where you thought you had married her, but she was actually still married to another man, one of her many tales that she's told, she was convicted, I read, in both Kentucky and Tennessee. So my question is, do we know who bailed her out? Because she had a bond that she had to pay. And I'm wondering who paid that bond. Was that the military?
I don't know. I know Garrett said on the stand that he got her out of jail one time. And like I said, I know that they were offering her money to be a victim. So when you throw money at somebody, they're like, especially somebody like her, they're going to jump on that money. I was also surprised. I had to go to some hearings for her charges, and they actually had given her a captain as an escort, a Captain Banty, I think it was. So, because of all her sexual epidemic in the military thing, that's another war that I didn't realize I had stumbled into with all this. She's basically saying that there's this sexual epidemic of assault and everything in the military, and basically turned into a giant witch hunt after about 2009. And I didn't know anything about this was going on. We were all concerned about the war. We weren't dealing with this kind of thing.
Right.
And, and so, that's how all that came about, though. That's what I stumbled into, when I tried to separate myself from Joan. And I know there's a lot of service members out there, male and female, that are in really bad relationships, and they're just having to stick it out because they're afraid that if they report it like I did, I went and reported her bigamy. They know that that they could all blow up in their face, because somebody had to do is point to them and say, well, this person is selling me, this person touched me.
Yeah,
and you're basically screwed. Your career's over. Your potential, your life is over. And I was writing a lot of articles later on with Mike, about all this stuff going on, this sexual witch hunts. And actually, we did a couple of articles on Garrett and Bayshore and false convictions that they did. Convicting guys and sending them to Leavenworth that they knew were 100% innocent. The local police had proven they were innocent, but these guys were rotting away in Leavenworth. Because a woman didn't want to get deployed, and she pointed to him and said, this guy assaulted me, or bad breakup with girlfriend or whatever. Once people find out that they can earn $60,000 to hundreds of thousands of dollars for being a.
Did we lose him? Uh-oh. I'm pretty sure that I'm sure that what just happened is Kit was cut off by the jail. So every time we mention Joan, just like let's just put it out there, Stacey. Every time we mention Joan, just like in the trial, we have, he'll probably call back. I'm just going to guess that we got cut off there. That is too bad. Oh, maybe he'll call back. Well, what do you think so far, honey?
Well, I think he's still as humble as I remember him to be, for sure. And I think what he's saying is also, for from what I could hear, it's a little hard. The reception's a little hard
Yeah.
to hear, but you know, we went in, I was also in the military, and we went in with this naive attitude that, you know, the justice system is good, that everything in the military is good. And if we did the right things, we could be or do anything we wanted to. And then we learn, you know, I used to sit back and I'd watch TV, I'd watch the news, and I would think, oh, well, they got arrested, they must have done it. And I can't think that way anymore. It's changed everything. And I'm sure it has for Kit as well, because we went in with this naive sense of, if we do the right things, it's always good. And I know he's trying to keep the best attitude he can, but we're learning there is so much corruption. There is so many processes to go through. And it's just not fair. There's a lot of people that are innocent that are in prison.
Start the conversation now.
We were afraid that maybe the jail cut you off or something, Kit.
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you great. Even better now.
All right. Well, I'm back for now.
Yeah, Stacey and I were just talking, and you are still as humble. You know, here you are. Speaking of like the real heroes of the war, and we were just talking about just how humble you've remained through this thing. And it really is impressive. I love that you help out the chaplain, that you do all you can in the jail to help people. You're helping those who get their GEDs. What else are you up to there as far as helping others? Because we get so many emails from people that have served a little time with you that feel forever indebted. They want to help you now.
Yeah, well, you know, I do I try to do whatever I can, you know, wherever I go. So, you know, wherever God sends me, that's where I am, and I try to do my best to help others. So,
yeah,
yeah, you know, I help guys with the legal stuff. You know, when I was in jail, now that I'm in prison, I'm working as a tutor. I got a lot of guys that got the GEDs, which is great to see. And I lead a Bible study on Saturday nights. We talk about the geography and the history of the Bible. That's you know, my first degree. And then you know, I've learned a lot. I thought I knew a lot about the Bible and a lot about you know, Christianity and things. I found out that actually there was a lot I didn't know. So I've been digging deep into that since I've been inside now, and a lot of this kind of came about because of COVID. I've been in a lot of other positions in the civilian world and in the military, but I never did anything like that with the church, and I never really expected to. But after we kind of locked down with COVID, you know, I realized that, you know, that was the only way we would make something happen. And so we would make meals in the jail, and we would have, you know, guys come together, and we'd do Bible study. And so here in the prison, you know, we were able to do the same thing. I mean, I would take a lot of courses, and you know, I'll give sermons sometimes and stuff like that. And it's a great experience.
yeah.
So I just try to give back what I've been blessed to have. I try to give that back, kind of thing.
Wow, Kit, you are something else. You know, I mean, well, you did really good marrying each other. I love really both of you.
You're so funny. He's a good person. You find out after you've been, you know, we were together, I guess we were married 13 years, and then you're apart for so long. I've known Chris, Chris to me, Kit to everybody else, over 30 years. And then you realize the grass isn't always green on the other side. We've both been through quite a bit.
Yeah.
But what I do know is I've always remained knowing that he's a good person. He is a good person. And that's why, you know, some people say, you know, why are you doing this? Why are you helping him? Because I know he's a good person. I know he's innocent. That's why I'm helping him.
Right. And you wouldn't be able to sleep at night if you couldn't, right? I mean, that's kind of where we are.
I'm already not sleeping at night.
Yeah, we're not sleeping at night anyway. Kit, talk to us about your music. I know that you have picked up the violin and you have picked up guitar. Are you really enjoying that? And are you learning some songs and some chords? Tell us about it.
Well, yeah, that's, you know, another thing. I never really had time to do any of that, and I didn't have, you know, moving around as a military kid, I didn't have the opportunity to really do any of that. So now that I'm kind of here with all this time on my hands, you know, so I've been spending, like I said, a lot of it, you know, digging into the Bible and taking Bible courses and learning so much, just amazing information. And then, you know, the other side is the music opportunity that I've never, you know, had before. So, you know, I'm focused on the violin. I'm trying the guitar, but I'm not very good at it. And then recently I started trying to do the drums.
Yeah.
Sitting, my back's kind of jacked up, so sitting for a long time is hard for me, but I've always wanted to do the drums, and so I'm really enjoying that. I got a couple buddies that are helping me with that. Just got some friends out there that they're helping me with the violin and everything. So
wow.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah,
I've been doing it about a little over a year now.
Yeah, that's so cool. I am going to call your friend Todd and try to get him on this podcast, and maybe we can even play some of the music. I'll have to have licensing rights and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I definitely want to get with him. It just sounds like such a delightful. Now, he was like your music teacher, and he's out now, right?
Yeah, he's an amazing musician, and we did a bunch of recordings together that he has, and you'll be able to tell my violin playing from like his very easily, but he can play anything with strings. Him, my buddy Ben, Chris, Preacher, my other buddy. Just amazing.
Yeah, and
guys.
All the guys call. Yeah, I know that in the military they called you Kit. There, they call you Major, don't they?
Yeah, you get a nickname, and whether you like it or not.
Because I wondered how you felt about that. Like, I know the whole military pride thing, So, yeah, but that's what the guys call you in the inside there. Have you been outside? Do you get to go outside? What's a day in the life as far as your enjoyment? What are you enjoying there?
Yeah, so usually I'll get up, I'll have my mornings free, so I'll go do music practice first thing, and then I tutor in the afternoon, and then over lunch a lot of times I'll do church courses, a lot of theology, homiletics, things like that, hermeneutics, and then in the evenings, if we don't have band or church service, I'll try to get outside some, and I'll try to get it. Right now we don't have evening rec anymore because it's so dark early, so I'll try to do like 45 minutes of walking the yard and working out right after I get done tutoring.
Your attitude is just amazing. Do you find yourself just getting along with most everybody there? I mean, it sounds like you've got kind of a good thing going on there at the Eastern Kentucky complex. I mean, as good as it can be.
I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of stuff that happens here. We've got a really great warden and for the most part a really good staff. But stuff does happen. There's a lot of violent guys here. There's a lot of real criminals and stuff. If you stay in your lane and stay around, a good group of people and don't get involved with bad stuff, which, I've been with time. You do okay.
Yeah.
I don't have real problems, and I try to treat everybody, kind of the golden rule thing, like Jesus taught, and that comes back to you, I think. So I get along with pretty much everybody.
Man, I'm really proud of your ex-husband there, sweetheart.
Yeah, he's adaptable to any situation, just tries to make the best of it, We are working very, very hard to try to get you out, and it's public information, so I'm sure I can say it on here, because I'm sure, as we know, your calls are recorded. But I did look, and they have filed with the Supreme Court, your attorney has, a petition. I think it's called for retrial or reconsideration. Should hear back from that, it said, by December the 5th.
Oh, that's good news. Did you know that, Kit?
Yeah, they said they were going to do it. I don't really expect anything come out of that. I mean, I think it's important to try for other people, because like I said, if a bad precedent is set, it affects everybody from here on out. You know what I mean? So it's important to hold Constitution and the rights that we're supposed to give, and that so many guys fought for. So hopefully, that will have a positive effect. We will have to wait and see. So.
Oh my God!
I've got a question, and you may or may not know this. Hopefully, I can find this out this evening. But we had one justice that recused himself. We had 2 that did think that you should have a new trial, and 4 that thought you didn't. So if one more changes their mind, then that's a tie. Do you know what that means?
Yeah, we wanted to know what happens if it's a tie in the Supreme Court.
I think the convictions are the convictions are upheld. I think it has to be reversed. I think you have to have a majority that requests a retrial. My attorney said that they have never seen a case where a life sentence is dropped, but a retrial is not granted. They've never seen that either. So
Yeah. There's other ways, though.
Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff going on with that. And like I said, once you're arrested, you basically have zero power to do anything. So I've been inside now for 4.5 years, and you're basically at the mercy of everybody else. Like I said, everything's monitored. You can't make even a simple phone call, without them digging into everything. And so you don't have any real communication. You don't have any, you don't have internet access or access to your records, really. So you're basically at the mercy of everybody else, And they know that. That's why, like, when Detective Smith lied, just like he done in other cases, he lied to get an indictment through a grand jury. And he basically admitted that he had done that at the trial. They know you had to have you then. You know what I mean? And once you're arrested and they take you that mugshot of you and everything, and they put you in orange and everything, handcuff you, then everybody else looks at you like you're guilty. You know what I mean? It's hard for people that have never had to deal with that to understand that. I didn't understand it, before I had to go through it. And I was always a big supporter of the police, and there's a lot of amazing law enforcement officers out there doing great things. But when you get one bad apple, especially when they have a record of doing bad things, and lying, then that destroys the whole system and the credibility of all the other police officers and lawyers and prosecutors. Same thing, it's all destroyed as well. If you cover for the person, then it just spreads like that. And
it does. It's like a cancer. Yeah, it's like a cancer, and sometimes it's unstoppable sometimes, but we are going to do everything we can to stop this madness, Kit. It has to stop for you. We have to get you out, and we're doing everything we can. There's phone calls going on, and we would never show our hand because we know who's listening right now. They're all listening, and we know that they're capable of doing that. They're capable of. I mean, if Emilio's going to try to get you a copy of the book, and then that is confiscated by Scott Smith, I think that just tells us everything that we need to know. They're paying attention to everything we do. So we're not going to, and you're the one that taught me this, my Army Ranger friend here, she said proudly, but you don't want to show everybody your hand, so just know that there is some really good stuff going on in the background that calms Stacey down a little bit, calms me down a little bit, and your Army, it calms them down a little bit as well. So, and we are definitely keeping all we can on social media. We are keeping your face and your name in the light, and it's all about hashtagging Free Kit Martin. That has become a major thing. I think it's been hashtagged a couple 100,000 times since we started it. So, yeah, that's a really good thing. We keep that going. We also have the hashtag Joan had the phone, because that makes it more interesting. Like, you want to kind of dig into it after you find out there's this chick involved that, somehow took down an Army Ranger.
Just thank you and everybody else out there for all that, everyone's doing in the Kids Army and all the other folks out there. And, just really, really appreciative of all the support they've given me and my family. I mean, the Detective Smith's still messing with my family. I mean, he drove out to Raleigh just like last week after Stacey's court TV appearance, and harassed my family, threatened them with jail, stole more material, and all without a warrant and everything. And that's just kind of par for the course, But they've had me arrested. They have me in here for years now, and that just shows you how corrupt people are,
Yeah.
And the same with Garrett. He lied on the stand. He got caught lying on the stand, and they let him get away with it.
Well, no, there is such thing as perjury. You just got to get the right lawyers to call them out. I mean, there's perjury going on all over your case. I mean, there's so much lying. I just can't even believe that it is horrible. It's horrible, Stacey. It really is.
Yeah. And Smith, like you said, back to what you said, Chris, is our kid. He's got such a history. I mean, right now he's in a case where Norman, what was his last name?
Graham. Yeah, Norman Graham.
Yeah. The accusation is that he actually got Mr. Graham to submit a sample of semen and planted it on the girl's pants.
Yeah.
Now, how evil is that? I mean,
Right.
it's
Well,
unbelievable.
they're going after, Mr. Graham, you probably know about that case, Kit. He is out of jail now, and he's fighting, and he's trying to go for Scott Smith's entire estate and all the other Kentucky State police officers from Post 2 who helped with that mess, So, yeah, there's some accountability being held there, and makes me kind of happy. I don't know about you, but it makes me kind of ecstatic to hear stuff like that.
Well, yeah, it's just like you said, you gotta get those bad apples out of there.
Yeah, yeah.
With the prosecutors too, you get a bad prosecutor like Garrett, Bayshore,
right,
or like Whaley. In my case, and the lies and everything that they tell. What I am happy for and I feel blessed about is that it was all recorded. Thank God for Court TV.
No kidding.
They recorded this. And anybody can go and look at it even now. They can see them lying on the stand and admitting they had to lie. They can see them, doing shenanigans with the video editing and all that kind of stuff. The hearsay and the Fifth Amendment stuff that wasn't shown, I don't think. And I know the jury didn't get to see any of that, and they didn't get to see a lot of the background history, or they didn't get to see any of the discovery either. But it's out there, And what struck me was that they were so blatant about it, and you can tell that they don't care that they're being caught in the act. Just like Bayshore didn't care that his lies were found out, because it's just the way they do business every day. And it's the injustice industry. The injustice industry covers for them, and they don't care because they know they're not going to face any repercussions for it. Just like Mr. Graham. It was a cold case like mine. There was no new evidence like mine. And, Smith came in and lied to a grand jury and got him arrested. They put him in trial. He got, I think he served 8 years out of maybe a life or something. And that's a regular day,
Oh, my God. Yeah.
And you got some amazing officers out there that are trying to do the right thing, and trying to get to the truth, and, again, thank God for people like Michael Kanzaki, who was a, famous LA homicide detective, and he's been working for me pro bono for years now, 8 years now, and he even went to the FBI and stuff, and sheriff in Todd County, because he knew something was going to happen. He had that feeling that something bad was going to happen, and he was trying to prevent it, and they all just kind of blew him off. And a few weeks later, the murders happened.
Yeah,
but he tried.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I have my theories on what happened, and I would never share that publicly, but I know everybody's got their own little theory. One thing we know for sure, though, right, Stacey? We know who didn't do it.
Yeah, that's right. We do know that, and we know all the people that are lying in this game, and it's sad that they could treat it like a game because, like Chris said, they don't care. And it's a travesty. It truly is.
We don't know how people sleep at night. Like even the Phillips family. I mean, I don't know how they sleep at night. They've got to know that there's still a killer running around out there.
They were, if you look at the discovery, it does show that every time that Smith went and met with Garrett, and he would go directly to the Phillips house and meet with Diane and Matt Phillips and kind of download all the crap that they had been telling them. When you look at the small amount of physical evidence, and I'm using quotation things with my fingers here, you can't see, but the casing that shows up miraculously 5 months later after multiple police searches, they don't find anything, but they find this immaculate casing, which isn't a ripper casing, which it's kind of important. But they find this casing, and they find this dog tag, which the information on it's all incorrect, but that's okay. Kind of goes to all that as well.
Hey, man, we appreciate you being here. Are you there, Stacey? I think I lost Stacey, and now I'm going to lose you. Hey, man, it is such a pleasure talking to you, Kit. Thank you so much for just kind of keeping us updated, and we will do this again, like next month. We'll talk to you around Christmas time. How's that?
That'd be great. Yeah, like I said, just thank you so much for what you're doing, and everybody else out there. There's thousands of people, and like I said, I just appreciate everybody's support. Not only for me, but for my family and all of the other false convictions out there. And there's so many, unfortunately. So
yeah,
please keep up the good work.
Hey, thank you so much, sir. Have a great night. Appreciate you. We got you.
Thank you for using Securus. Goodbye.